Hello everybody, I'm Kamaleao, welcome to my channel, and today I want to talk about games that have great ideas, amazing ideas, and then somehow fail to deliver. And as an example, I'm going to use this game right now, and it's called Betrayer. And I'll talk a bit about what this game is, what I think are the amazing ideas in this game, and then talk about why I think it fails to deliver, why it makes me so sad that, well, this game isn't what it could be. Now, let's start with the positive. What is this game about, and why is it awesome? What are its great ideas? This game plays at the beginning of the 17th century. You start being shipwrecked off the coast of America. And you're on your own. There's nobody else on the beach. And yeah, and you just walk inland and you find this little fort. It's called Fort Henry, I think. Let me have a quick look. Fort Henry, yeah. Fort Henry, and there's nobody in here. There were statues of people who had turned into ash, but I realized that you could smash them, and so there are no more statues of people here. I'm a bad person. And yeah, the whole thing is you have to essentially run around and find out what happened. And the only other people-ish things you meet, or let's say meet early on. I'm trying not to talk too much about what happens later in the game. The only other stuff you meet early on is Spanish conquistadors, or they once were Spanish, and they've turned a little bit demonic, and they instantly attack you if they see you. And if they get close, they are somewhat dangerous. They kill you rather quickly. And yeah, you just walk around and you try essentially to find out what happened, what's going on here, and yeah, that's the main thing. How you do that, you have a map, and on this map you can see here item locations, that chest notes, clues, totems, buried treasure, wraiths, shadows, graves. So you can find the graves of people and then read the inscriptions on their gravestones. Sometimes there are clues. For example, there were arrows stuck in here, and I could find them, and by the amount of arrows and the arrows being in different places, you could see, okay, there was maybe an Indian attack here, or natives attack on this fort. And you find notes about the natives becoming more aggressive and stuff like that. There's one other person you find early on is this woman, but she's, early on at least, not that helpful. She's a bit mysterious. You don't really know anything about her, what she does, what happens here. And it's all a bit mysterious because, yeah, it's mysterious. Not much makes a lot of sense early on, which is good. I think it adds to the mystery of the game. Now, the most striking thing about this game, and one thing I love, is the art style. It's all in black and white. The whole presentation of the game is just, in general, great. It's all in black and white, and with the exception of red. And the way red is used is very interesting. It's sometimes used to mark, or very often used to mark stuff. For example, and I mean, this looks really cool, I think. This is just with everything in black and white, and only the cross on the flag is in red. That's just stylish. I mean, sure, this type of art style isn't unique. Other games have done that, but it is rare enough that it is different. And I really, really enjoy that. And otherwise, the red is used to mark, for example, enemies. Almost the vast majority of enemies have some kind of red clothing, and that makes them easy to spot or easy to differentiate, because with purely black and white games, I often have the problem that it becomes difficult to distinguish between what is important and what isn't, and it's often difficult to see enemies or see what you need to see, and in this game they use the red to mark stuff. For example, this here is a mark that this is water, where I can drink or fill up my water bottle, and that heals me. Can I smash that? I can't smash that. Nothing in it. And another thing, you can see this red blinking over there. This also means there's something I can interact with. Yeah, something is buried here. I only have a trowel so far, so I cannot dig this up. By the way, I chose an early point in the game, so this isn't really spoilerish. This is like within the first 30 minutes of the game. And yeah. So the art style, I love it. Now, what I love even more about the art style, even though I personally rarely use this, I love that the option is there. Let's say you play this and you think, okay, I'm curious, what would this world, what does this view look like if it had color? Nah, okay. Okay, I'm just stupid. Okay, contrast color settings, color saturation, tuck. Now it's almost oversaturated. And you can see everything looks... I mean this instantly changes for me the whole air this game has, the whole feel this world has to it. And you can really see this is oversaturating, overdoing it. And you can just play around with that. You can have it like very dulled colors. Okay, this is not very dulled yet, but let's go to 0.1. Now everything is in very dullish colors. You have tiny amounts of them, but not much. And you can also play around with light intensity. You can go full on light and everything blinds you. You can make the whole game very dark. You can take away the shadows. You can make the shadows very pronounced. Whatever you want. And I really love the idea of that. The possibility that you can change it around. The way I play it, this is, I think, close to the original settings with only black, white, and red. Very deep shadows, and I think this makes the world look pretty amazing. And it really fits the theme of the game, where you're pretty much alone and everything is strange. Now, let's just go out and show you something else. Another part of the presentation is this, for example, is one of the gravestones. I already took the clue of it, so it doesn't pop up anymore. But there you can see there's something red, and it's moving, so it's an enemy. And the game really wants you to go stealthy. Now you have different ways of doing this. I can show you the weapons that I have. I have a rusty musket, a shoddy longbow, and a common pistol. And they have different, statistics. Damage, range, speed, deflect chance. And some have a special ability. For example, the musket, 75 damage, range fair, whatever that's supposed to mean. Speed, very slow. The firearms are very slow in this game. I'll show you that in a minute. And deflect chance. Deflect chance means when you hit a piece of armor. Another thing that I find is great about this game, or I consider to be great about this game, when soldiers or enemies wear armor, like a breastplate, and you hit the breastplate, there's a chance that it deflects and then it deals no damage. I think the deflect chance is far too low, especially for a bow. For the firearms, yeah, okay. Firearms should go through armor, but a bow, arrows don't pierce plate armor. That just doesn't happen. Or it's extremely unlikely to happen. But yeah. The weapons, they fire, generally all fire slow. Even the bow says fast, but it's not that fast. It's a bow. And yeah, special stealthy, of course, the bow doesn't make sound, the firearms do make a lot of sound. The next thing that is great about the fighting system is the way stealth works. Part of the presentation, this game has no sound, no music, and if I go into audio, there's a music slider, but the music is more like in the options menu or in specific situations, but there's no general music in this game. I'm going to put up the global volume a little bit, and then turn it down later again, just for this fight to show you there's wind in the game, and you can use the sound of the wind to cover up the sound of your steps. So the wind, there are like gushes of wind and times when there's very little wind. When you move too fast, when there's no wind, you're easier to hear. And I think that's great. But as you can hear, oh, there's another one. Maybe he'll hear me if I use the musket, but we'll see. So right now there's no wind. I cannot hear it, you can see there's very little movement and everything. And you can only hear animals, and there's wind. And that allows me to move a little bit faster. I don't actually need to be too close with this weapon, but there's a ridge in the way. And I got him. Now reloading this is very slow, as you can see. And it's reloaded. Now I can loot it. And that's the Spanish guy. Now let's get a little bit closer to the other one and hope he doesn't kill me instantly. Where's the other one? So I can show you what he looks like. Over there is one. And over there. Okay. Let's take that one. Maybe I can throw my tomahawk at him. I also have a bomb. That's always nice. So. Oh, ow. You can see there are crude pistol broken. Why is... Oh, ow, ow, ow. So you see 2 hits. And I'm at half health, and this is very early in the game. So you can attack them in the open, but it is not really advised. What the? Eat my tomahawk. So yeah, you can attack them out in the open, but it's not really advised, and I forgot what the button is for drinking water. Oh, there it is. So the longbow is a good alternative. It doesn't kill in one blow most of the time, though. Now, I really like the atmosphere. I love the atmosphere, actually. One more cool thing I can show you. This is again a tiny bit spoilery, but it happens within the first 30 minutes of the game, so it's not too much. Oh, another cool thing. There's a button where you can listen. And there's nothing happening here. It's not much. But there's a button like you can just listen to what's happening around you, and that can give you clues, and you can follow the sound where something is, and that can bring you to interesting stuff. Now, this happens early on in the game, quite early on. Essentially, when you arrive at Fort Henry, you find the spell, and when you pick it up and put it somewhere, you can ring it. And right now, I'm, well, in the world of the living, and when I ring the bell, I'm in the world of the dead. And everything looks a little bit different in here. You know, the same buildings and stuff, but the woman who was standing here is now gone. and you have the ringing of the bell in the background, and even if I change the color saturation, that doesn't work in this world, so this world is always dark because it's dead. And you can find ghosts. This is a ghost who is looking for his family, and this is apparently what I have to do right now. And yeah, things are a little bit different in here. You can find different stuff, you can find different people, or different characters, and you have different enemies. You have skeletons that attack you, maybe. Let's see if I can find a skeleton to attack me. Hello? Oh, there. They pop up, and they sometimes pop up behind you, and there is one. And they are weaker, but there's just more of them, so this is going to be bad. And I'm dead. Okay, that was good. Really showed off my skill there. Yeah, right. That never happened. You didn't see that. But yeah, so that's what you do. You switch back and forth between this other world, so the world of the dead and the world of the more or less living, and try to find out what happened, what's going on here. Now, some things, this is a mixed bag, I'd say. On the one hand, it really adds to the whole I just came here and I know nothing and what's going on in this place vibe of this game. There is no quest giver in a traditional sense. It's not like you get somebody who says, okay, go there, collect this, and then come back and I'll give you the next piece of information. I'm going to turn down the ambient sound a little bit again. And yeah, that really helps the story-ish telling. It's not really storytelling. It's more lore than story. Yeah, it depends how you define it. The way I define storytelling, this game barely has any. Because it's just stuff that happens around you. And you have to uncover what happened here. The bad thing about that is, I think they overdo it a tiny bit. There have been points in the game where I was just, okay, and what am I supposed to do now? I don't know. You just sit there and there's like these tons of little dots around the map and all of them are something, and you think, okay, you can just hide all and say, okay, should I look for clues? Or should I look for notes? Or should I find the totems and do something about them? Or what's wraiths? What I don't know what I'm supposed to do with them. Shadows, are shadows good? What's the difference between a wraith and a shadow? So yeah. So on one hand, the lack of direction in this game really helps the ambience, it helps the theme and the style of the game. But on the other hand, it leaves you a little bit stranded, in a way. Maybe a little bit too much. But that's not my criticism about the game. My criticism about the game is there is enough stuff here for maybe an hour or 2 hours, maybe 3 hours of somewhat interesting gameplay. And then it just there isn't enough to this game. It's a bunch of great ideas and they're not fleshed out into a full game. For me, this would be like, I see this and think, okay, this is an amazing pitch for a video game. A crazy good pitch for a video game, and I would fund this to make an actual full video game out of this. I really would. But that's not what happened. This is the full game. I just saw there's a note here. I have a note I haven't seen. And again, it's marked a little bit in red and it flashes a bit so it becomes easier to see. Page scrap. Several among the council are wary of treating with the naturals. But I believe I have convinced them of the necessity, for we cannot assume that Sir Christopher will outfit or resupply fleet with sufficient urgency to ensure it reaches us from England before we have no more need of it. We will starve before spring without succor. So yeah, that's kind of the scraps you find around. Why do I think this is not a finished game or a complete game? It is a finished game. It's just not the way it is. I think it's not a very good game. It's a game with amazing ideas and amazing potential that wasn't finished well enough. First of all, the lack of direction is a little bit too much. That could be improved a tiny bit. Not much, but a tiny bit. The second thing is the gameplay becomes a bit stale because that is essentially all you do. You walk from clue to clue, from node to node, from totem to totem, gather everything and find out what happened. And you only do that through finding the clues, going from main world to the other to the world of the dead, and that's it. There is almost no variation in enemy types. I think you almost saw every enemy type there is in this game. And I'm not kidding. Almost. So, there's not much there. And I think this is so sad. Because you have like 3, 4, 5 different weapon categories. You have grenades, you have a tomahawk, you have bows, you have pistols, you have muskets, you have crossbows, and it doesn't really matter because there's like skeletons and conquistadors, and that's pretty much it. Almost. Again, I don't want to spoil, but it just feels like a great idea, and they didn't. I don't think that they didn't know where they want to go with it, but I think they didn't go far enough with it. The way this game is, I can definitely recommend it because it's a little bit older and you can get it very cheap. You can get it for like, I think on sale for $1 or something. I got it in a bundle for 6 games for $3.50 or something. So if you get it that cheap, then it's a great game because the atmosphere and the running around finding the clues and trying to see what is going on in this world is fun for like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, depending how quickly you go through it and how quickly having only like 2 enemy types annoys you. But for a full or for a more pricey game, this would be not very good. So yeah, this makes me a little bit sad. I'm less sad when I actually see a game that is just crap, and I see, okay, this is a crappy idea, and they copied a crappy idea of somebody else and implemented it crappily, and I'm saying, okay, this is just bad. But with games like this, I'm always sitting there thinking, oh, okay, I mean, this isn't bad, but it could be so incredibly far better. It could be so much more fun. It could be an amazing game. Like the whole idea with listening for clues and being able to switch worlds, and again using audio cues a lot for what happens, and then you actively have to listen to stuff. The ability to customize the way the game looks, I love that. But then I see, okay, it just falls short of what it could be. And I think unused potential is sadder than no potential at all. And I think for a more current example, that would be No Man's Sky. Though I disagree. Actually, I think No Man's Sky that is less of a problem with No Man's Sky, because in No Man's Sky the main issue I have with that is that tons of stuff was promised and then just not implemented, and less that there is amazing potential there and that wasn't fleshed out, because most of the stuff that was promised is simply not at all existing in the game, and it's not like there are great foundations and it's just not happening. So yeah, Betrayer, a game of amazing ideas, of great atmosphere, that sadly falls a bit short in its execution, but if you can get it cheaply, I definitely recommend it. If you are into this kind of, if you like the aesthetics, if you enjoy the mystery aspect of games, like you just get thrown into it and then you have to find out what happened here, and it's all a bit mysterious. And if you like that kind of stuff and you get this game cheaply, it's definitely worth a play. What about you? Have you played games where you thought, okay, this game has so much potential, and sadly it's just not implemented perfectly, or not implemented the way it could be? Games that just fall short of actually using their brilliant ideas in the way you would have loved them to. I'd really like to know that. My name's Kamleao. Have a good time.